Today's Friday. You know what that means. We got new content, and then will be the show 25 Diamond Dynasty. We have a little different format of a content drop, or not really format, but just concept. Today we have the Prime Series content. It's just a little different because we're going to be getting Prime cards later in the year, or at least I assume so. But anyway, we have 16 new Prime cards that came out today. It's a pretty solid content drop across the board. And there's also some other stuff that was released today as well, which is pretty good. So let's get into it. As always, let's take a look at the calendar. So today is June 27th. We got the Prime program. We got another Spotlight program. We got a Chase card, which is pretty sick. And if we look into the future, we have new player evolution program. Interested to see what that's about. We have on the 3rd, obviously they're not going to be dropping content on July 4th because they will not be working on July 4th. They're going to be doing the show live, a weekend classic and fifth inning, and lightning. I don't see a roster update on the calendar. Roster updates are typically every 3 weeks. Maybe it is still on that 3rd and it's just not on the calendar. Maybe it's in the article that they're going to post today or something. Who knows? But regardless, that 7-11, the July 11th is going to be the all-star content drop. And that's going to be a doozy, as it is every year. Let's start with the Spotlight program. So the program award is this 95 Nolan Arenado, and I gotta say, this is a great free card to get. 100, 107 contact, 90, 102 power, 103 clutch. He's nothing that screams elite on offense, but he is great across the board. There isn't one thing that he lacks really besides discipline. Defensively great, 92 fielding, 80 arm, 88 accuracy, 90 reaction. That's a great free card in a program. Moving down the line, tops now cards, we got Christian Moore, great against lefties in clutch, decent against lefties, or against righties. And then we have Clark Schmidt of my Yankees. He's been so underrated this year. He's been on a tear. Cutter, slider, knuckle curve, sweeper, sinker. That's a pretty sick pitch mix. Doesn't have the best velo. Has solid control, insane break. 102 hits per 9, 116 clutch for 92 is crazy. Let's just go over the pack cards here. We have a Brooks Lee. This card is probably the best card that was dropped today. Even I would probably take this over the Chase pack, or maybe I wouldn't. But ultimately, this card is insane. Switch hitter, short, second, third, 125, 119 contact, 107, 76 power, 120 clutch. He's going to be defensively, but he'll be good enough. Moving down the line, we have Jose Soriano, a starter from the Angels. Sinker, knuckle curve, slider, splitter, four seam. He throws pretty hard. He is outlier in the sinker. Good hits per 9, good clutch. The control is not there, though. The break is, though. And then quickly going through these tops now cards, we have a Brady House, good contact and clutch, good defense. We have a Logan O'Hoppe. This is a great budget catcher. I don't think anyone needs a budget catcher because of how many are in the game, especially with the Salvador Perez that's in the new program. But whatever, still a pretty good card. And then we have Braxton Fulford, another catcher. Wow, they did 2 catchers in one pack. But, he's pretty much the same card as O'Hoppe, but just a little worse, right? Yeah. I just want to mention for the 20 in June program, they added another mission, 2 extra base hits with right fielders. I have everything else done. So as of today, you can get to 92. I'm assuming this Sammy Sosa is going to become accessible within a few days. So if you're behind on this program, might as well knock it out this weekend if you got some time, because this is obviously a good free card. Now moving on to the Prime program. So for the Prime program, there are 5 player cards and there are 2 packs. It's interesting the way that they did the Prime collection, which I'll get into later, but the program itself is pretty solid. You have Richie Sexson as the final reward, 93 for both contacts, 106, 101 power, 97 clutch, bronze defense at first. This card is probably going to be either a DH or a first baseman. I feel like this is going to be in everyone's lineup that doesn't have Gil Hodges. I obviously have Gil Hodges. It is not easy to get Gil Hodges. He's the NL reward. I'm not expecting you to. Just an honest observation, but this is a pretty good free card. I've heard complaints about his swing. considering he's 6'8", and it's kind of hard to hit with him apparently. I used his captain card a little offline, and I actually like to swing. So who knows? Moving down the program, we have a Salvador Perez, 92-90 contact and 9100 power, 97 clutch. So these cards are pretty balanced offensively. Defensively, also pretty balanced. 81-80, 81-80, 84. That's kind of funny. This is like the most balanced card ever. We have a Charlie Morton from the Rays, four-seam curveball, sinker, cutter, splitter. Great pitch mix. Does not have any quirks. He still throws pretty hard. He has good control on 3 pitches, maxed out break on 4 pitches. 94 hits per 9 is a little, it's fine for now, but it'll get phased out in a couple of weeks. 108 pitching clutch is good. The Ks per 9 is pretty bad, so you're not going to be able to strike out a lot of people. But overall, a nice free starting pitcher card in all honesty. Mike Cameron, not amazing, especially on offense. He does have good contact versus lefties and good defense and speed and solid clutch, but like at the end of June, this is not going to be in anyone's lineup. And then lastly, we have a Jesse Chavez. This is a pretty good reliever. Cutter, sinker, circle change, four-seam slider. He has the pitch mix, does not have the velo, but you can kind of get away with it with some relievers. Control, good first 2 pitches. Break, pretty solid across the board. The 121 pitching clutch is certainly going to help this card a lot. But overall, some pretty solid, nothing like too spectacular, but some pretty solid free cards in this Prime program. Now, if we go to collections and we go to the Prime collection, we have Lance Berkman as the final reward. There are only 2 cards. This is a smaller sort of collection / content drop. Lance Berkman Prime, 96 overall. I don't really know if there are any 96 overalls in the game. Obviously, they're going to start coming in with the power creep. He's a switch hitter, can play right, first, left, and center. That is elite defensive flexibility for MLB 25. 110, 100 contact, 105, 80 power, 109 clutch. He's got silver defense, 65 speed is pretty solid. It's good enough for the outfield. I would probably put this card at first base if I didn't have Gil Hodges. But overall, pretty solid card. A lot of people loved the BR card in the beginning of the year, and they love to swing. I didn't really use him that much. Maybe I'll try this card out. The other collection reward is 95 Ian Kinsler, 104-90 versus left, 90-80 versus right, 100 clutch, 86 fielding, 90 speed, 72 stealing. This isn't nearly as good as the Lance Berkman, but I don't really think this card is anything special in all honesty, but it is what it is. He's not terrible. So how the collection works is you need 16 players, so you automatically get 1 by getting Ian Kinsler. The Jason Kipnis, which is the AL Central collection reward, does count for the Prime collection, as it should. You can skip 1 player in the pack, assuming you have Kipnis. If you don't have Kipnis, you need every single player in the pack. So that it is what it is. I don't know if there's like a special insert or like something like that. There is. The chase card is not a Prime card. So give it an hour or 2 and we'll see what these guys' prices really are, because they just came out. But let's go to the store. So looking at the pack odds, I don't think it's a special insert. I think it's just a really difficult rare round to get. 1 to 20 is crazy. That's insane. So it's 101 for the base, 1 to 5 for the mid, and 1 to 20 for the 2 rare cards. And you're going to need 1 of them, maybe 2 if you don't have Kipnis for that Berkman. Let's go through these cards really quickly. We have Jason Varitek. This card is going to be on a lot of teams. Everybody loved the first Varitek that we got in the multiplayer program. This card is probably going to be a fan favorite as well, even though he's very expensive. He's around 83K. 96, 114 contact, 82, 95 power, 101 clutch, switch hitting catcher. We have so many of those in the game. Pretty good defensively. This is a great catching card. I would still take Santana over this card, but ultimately still great. Terry Pendleton. Speak of another multiplayer program reward. We got a Prime Terry Pendleton, switch hitting third baseman, 108, 120 contact, 105 vision, 125 clutch, gold defense, can only play third. This is like the definition of a contact switch hitter or whatever. I don't know what I was saying there, but people are going to love this card. Everybody loved the Varitek and the Pendleton. So those are two pretty good picks. Tommy Pham, I love his swing, but ultimately attributes aren't amazing. 111 contact left, 100 clutch, good defense as well. Michael Young, 112, 113 contact, 102, 115 for clutch, 80 fielding. He's going to be kind of like a budget version of this Pendleton. Kind of the same player. You could honestly argue that this Michael Young is better, in all honesty. But anyway, wow, I'm just realizing that my green screen is really faded into the... All right, anyway. Jim Cott from the White Sox. Slider, curve, sinker, slurve, screwball. It's an interesting pitch mix. Across the board, nothing too special, though. We have Louis Aparicio. I don't even want to say good contact. This guy would have been good for the Diamond Quest bunt method. But, you know, he has everything except power and not an amazing contact. Kind of the same thing for Bill Mazeroski. Pretty much the same player build, in all honesty. Robin Roberts, four-seam curveball, sinker, slurve, changeup. Nothing too special here. The per-nines are unbelievably bad for this stage of the year. Hal Newhouser, at least he's in the 90s for the per-nines. 114 stamina is good. But overall, nothing too spectacular on him. Raisel Iglesias, this is a solid budget reliever. He's going to be pretty cheap. 102, 105 per nines, 108 clutch. Does he have outlier? No, he doesn't. But sinker, slider, four-seam, circle change is a good pitch mix. And that's it for the prime pack. And then lastly, we got a new chase card. It's this 96 second half Trea Turner. 100, 116 contact, 75, 115 power. This guy's going to destroy lefties. Going to be a little underwhelming against righties, but he'll have good enough contact, and the clutch will certainly help. Defensively in the silver range, good speed, can play second and short. He's a second primary because he played second for the Dodgers that year. This is a beast of a card. Everyone's going to want him because of how good his card was in MLB The Show 21. There's also a vault bundle. I don't know what's in this. It says, okay, a Premier Choice Pack and Chase Pack 16. So you can buy a chase pack pretty much, but it's 100,000 stubs. Wow, that's a lot for a pack, and I'm not buying it. So yeah, that's going to be it for this video. If you guys are new here, follow me on all my social medias, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, and most importantly, make sure to subscribe and here on YouTube. So yeah, see you guys in the next one. Peace.